A lot of your YouTube advice videos are, like I said, they are about getting men to commit.
Yeah.
Why do you think getting men to commit to a relationship is such a massive part of your coaching?
Yeah, it's kind of been the trend, and it's that question that I get so often from women, and I can very seldom remember getting it from men. I very rarely remember having men coming to me and say, this woman won't commit. It did happen, but it's a question I get a lot more from women. I think it's a combination of two things, nature and nurture, essentially, upbringing and the way we're built as well. From a biological standpoint, over the millions of years, it made a little more sense for women to enter commitment more quickly, to sort of tie the guy down. If obviously people were sleeping together, there was a high chance she could be pregnant quite quickly. And from that kind of perspective, it made a bit more sense for a woman to go, hey, I'm falling for this person, I want to be with this person sooner. But I also think that our upbringing and the way we raise our boys versus our girls, or have raised them at least, can have a lot of influence on that. There's different sort of movie heroes that boys look at compared to girls. A lot of boys will look at Steve Stifler, or, they get told that, go out and have your fun, have your great times, and then you can settle down and have a family. And they almost get communicated this message that, well, you do your fun stuff and then commitment's after that. Whereas more often, and we're seeing this trail away now, fortunately, but more often women might be raised with, well, you grow up and you can look forward to having a family and you can look forward to being married, and that's the fun thing to look forward to. So boys and girls get these kind of different messages, and there's also, there's that sort of message that, it's shameful for a woman to be single and X age, and you never sort of hear those messages towards men. And I think that can contribute as well. So it's a bit of nature and a bit of nurture coming into it that I think commitment is more tends to be on the women who comes to me's minds than the men.
So in some of your advice, you talk about women acknowledging the risk when they're dating of being used for sex, but that they don't really consider the risk of being used for love. Could you explain that a bit?
Yeah. All this focus gets put on sex, and I get a lot of questions around, well, how do I ensure I'm not being used for sex? When is the best time to have sex? And that's obviously really important for health and other reasons. But there's a couple of other, what I call boyfriend benefits, quote unquote, that women don't think about a lot, that men absolutely value, that often get thrown away or thrown to men as if they're nothing. The first one is exclusivity, which we've kind of already talked about. But the second, even more important one, is love. That support, that companionship, that energy you bring to a man's life, that's what men truly value. That's the thing that men absolutely, it's something they will never, ever be able to get from their mates. It's something they can only get from that quality woman in their lives. And I meet so many women who say, well, I love him, Mark, I love him. How do I make him want me, for example? And I say, well, what's he been doing? And she says, well, he's not texting me, he's not calling me. I'm saying, well, why are you throwing your love at someone? The most valuable thing that you have when it's not being reciprocated. It happens a lot where I see this sort of beautiful gift given to men kind of without a second thought, whereas the sex gets the focus. And I'm a big believer that men commit for a hell of a lot more than sex. But your love, your sort of support and companionship, that energy in his life, that's something that no other woman can bring in the same way as you. And I'm always amazed at how that's often not considered.
Mark Rosenfeld, thank you so much for joining us on The Hookup.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
That was dating coach for straight women, Mark Rosenfeld, on the dynamics of commitment in dating.
All right, well done. That was good fun. We had Triple J, 9 o'clock in Queensland, 10 o'clock in New South Wales, Victoria, and I'll post a replay as well below the video. But yeah, hopefully I get to do more of that. What a treat. See you next time.